Hello, my friends. Wiggle here. That echo effect in that last video is kind of crazy. I'm still trying to get this worked out. I guess I needed a microphone. I don't know. I apologize for that effect. But we'll try to minimize it. I apologize for the quiet sound of the videos. I'm trying to get it figured out. It's just gimmicky, glitchy. I think it's an old microphone. Something, I don't know. So in this discussion about eco-villages, I wanted to throw around a couple terms and have a discussion. I think it's important to distinguish between certain ideas here. So eco-village, I was kind of presenting as just a sustainable village, a group of people working together with low inputs, highly local in its endeavor. And the important part would be the common values. The core values were not religious. So they're a little bit more free in that regard. I think that's important because a lot of intentional communities, everybody calls them a cult. So when we're having a discussion, we're talking about intentional community, which they can look like a lot of different things. But generally, people are going to say, "Oh, it's a hippie commune," or "That's a cult." And when you say those things in response to the idea of an intentional community, it is not original. 1,000 people, 10,000 people have said it before you, and 10,000 people will say it after you as initial response. It's not original. It's not original thought. It's a conditioned response. Pavlovian. It's what it seems to be anyway. A programmed response. So let's have a look at that. Just because it's an intentional community, it doesn't mean it's necessarily a cult. It could be just people coming together with an intention as a group of people, as a community. It can be just as simple as that. Now, when you have a centralized religious practice, centralized religious leaders, a centralized religious practice that's expected, certain beliefs that cannot be questioned, certain leaders that cannot be questioned, now you're getting more into the culty stuff. Just because it's an intentional community doesn't mean it's a commune. A lot of them are. And I don't believe that that's really a sustainable, workable solution. It has some faulty foundational aspects to it that I think if we look at them, doesn't really work. The collective approach, problem with the collective approach, any of them, is that it's going to cater to the lowest common denominator, and the lowest common denominator is going to pull the whole thing down because everybody's being tried to be made equal in all regards, and that's not necessarily the truth of the way life works, of the way things are. Everybody has equal worth as a human being. All human beings have worth. Say that's equal. A human being is, people are people, and they're all the same, and they all have value. That doesn't mean that their skills, their abilities, their work ethic, there's good people, there's bad people, and there's a whole range of different things, and it has to be the individual needs to factor in. It can't just be the collective overriding the individual. The individual has to have the liberty to stand alone. And this is a big schism in the intentional community, collectivism or individualism, libertarian or commune. I'm not sure communes work. And maybe they do. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not buying that. I'm not going for it. So, can it be a commune without being a cult? I think so. Can it be a cult without being a commune? Yeah. The cult thing is really that religious expectation, that belief base. I would suggest that having a value base where you have more of agreed upon set of morality and values and ethics, that is not a cult. Not really. It's just you have some guidelines and you have some agreed upon things, and these are the rules, and this is what we're doing. And there's no established leader. There's no established religious leader. You have to have leaders in everything. There's no required religious service or required beliefs. Really, that to me is the defining factor. If you have priests or gurus or whatever, you got some guy in charge, you got the medicine man, whatever, you're getting in their cult territory. So when I'm talking about an eco-village or an intentional community or whatever, and people start throwing away around the cult word and the commune, it's overly reductive. It's like, and it's not original. So let's just have a look at it and see if it is a cult. And I hate to say this, kind of, but most people are already in a cult. You already have. You go to your traditional religious organization that's money-based, and you have things that you have to believe. You have leaders you can't question. You have duties to perform and expectations, and you're just another brick in a wall, really. You don't get to decide for yourself, ask questions. You'll get thrown out quicker than anything if you ask questions in a cult. You start questioning leadership, you're going to be out before you know what hit you. They're going to throw you out for being divisive, which is, somewhat ironic, getting thrown out because you're divisive. Hypocritical, been there, done that. I mean, I've been the thrown out person for asking questions or trying to hold leadership accountable to bad decisions or just faulty decisions. You don't get to question it. That's when you know you're cult. You can't question it. You're not free to do what you want. You're a slave to the belief structure, and they have the truth, and nobody else does. And man, there's so many people already in a cult. Don't go calling everybody else in a cult until you realize, that's where you are. And I'll talk about another cult that everybody's in, where you have to believe in it, you can't question it, or everybody's going to let you have it. It's money, it's fiat, it's fake, it's not a real thing. People think they can't live without it. I can't live without money. You're in a cult, man. It's a religious thing. It's a belief in a fiction. That must be true. You serve it from cradle to grave. So, to me, currency users are the biggest cult of all. So, and you have science, you have all these other things that really you can't question. Trust the science, said no scientist ever. Question the science always. If you can't question it, it's not science, it's a cult. So there's many, many, many forms of cults, and they're certainly not all intentional communities, communes, or otherwise. So let's just quit throwing that word around until we can look at ourselves and say, what am I doing? Am I in a cult? Am I in an organization? There's other cults as well. These organizations of fraternal organizations, Boy Scouts, just whatever. There's a lot. Football, professional sports, tribalism, cool, I guess. So let's just quit calling everybody that's trying to come together and find a different way of life outside of the status quo, the normal way of doing things. Trying to live a better life, trying to leave consumerism behind, and trying to maybe learn to live without money, learning to cooperate and help each other and communicate and be nice people and be good, work together. Let's not call all those people a cult member until we take a look at what all the cults are, and all the communes, and all the collectivism. Let's look at the ballot box. Let's look at all of it. I didn't really have this point-by-point thing laid out. just saying, are you in a cult? Are they in a cult? The way to just avoid that is to just allow people to volunteer and believe and do and work in a manner that they agree with and understand. Allow questions, allow some latitude, allow some opportunities for growth, and let's be intelligent about it and honest and truthful about it. Let's let the truth prevail. You don't have to protect the truth. The truth is what's left standing after everything else is questioned and removed. After everything that's doubtful is removed, there's the truth. The truth does not fear questioning. So to me, if the whole intellectual dishonesty of not allowing questions, you're in a cult. It's pretty simple. If you have a religious service that you have to do because you're told to do it, and if you don't, you're out. So anyway, I could go on and on, I guess, and repeat myself. So I guess that will be it. Let's look at a tribal village. Let's look at collective effort in a voluntary effort as well. Collectively cooperate and individually with individual liberty and allow people to be who they are. And we won't have cults and we won't have communes because a commune is not real big on individual rights. So I think that you're never going to be sustainable when the lowest common factor is defining everything. It just is a greatly reducing force. So strong individuals doing their thing, working within their talents and cooperating willingly, it's empowering. It's okay that everybody is not the same. It's okay that we have different stations and abilities, and your responsibilities and your choices matter, and it distinguishes you from others. It doesn't reduce their worth as a human being. It allows people to shine where they're at because there's all kinds of different snowflakes. You know, everybody's individual and unique. It doesn't have to be all the same. You don't want to be a brick in a wall. It doesn't work. So I'm going to have another video along these lines. It's about work value. In the collective movement, there's this thing where 1 hour of this is worth 1 hour of that. And I'm going to talk about that. So at any rate, I appreciate you watching. I forgot to look at the camera. I'm still working on this. This was unscripted, obviously. So I appreciate you watching. Remember to be the light walking in dark places. And this is Wiggle Out.